Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for all the comments on the previous video. So we are now on the final episode of the KA build. So we're picking it up the following day from the previous video. Just want to say a huge thanks to everyone who subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you like what you see, hit that like button, and let's get on with the video and enjoy. Right, so next day, got a bit more light on the front now, so hopefully that'll help when you're watching the video. All the parts are now arrived, with the exception of the pipe that I need, which is split for the oil breather, for the air breather, sorry. I did go to Ford, ordered the part, and they sent the wrong one, so I need to get that swapped out, but I'm going to get that done tomorrow. So what we're going to do now, strip down the front end, take off the damaged panels, drain the radiator, take the condenser and the radiator off, and then we will fit all the new parts and go from there. Let's see how we get on. So what I've done first is I've just primed all of the bolts and everything that we need to unscrew with some WD-40. The actual removal process is quite straightforward. There's a bolt down the bottom here on each side that takes off the two little brackets that hold the radiator into place. And then the whole thing should just come out and drop down. But the first thing we need to do is get this slam panel off and get the lower impact bar off as well. So let's get on to that. Okay, so first problem we found, there's a retaining nut behind here, which actually should be welded in place onto the back of the slam panel. This one's, the weld snapped and it's just spinning free. So I need to get the socket on behind there and then get the gun back on the front of it to get that off. What I've done is I've put a bolt in the bottom here and a bolt in the bottom there, just because when you remove all the bolts from the two impact bars, that will actually cause the whole slam panel to drop and become loose, and I don't want it to like have nothing supporting it. So I'll just literally put a bolt in either side at the bottom there just to give it some support. Let's see if we can't tackle this nut here. I think I can get access to it. Just always one thing. Right, so that's the two impact bars removed. What I'm going to do now, get the car up in the air, get the pipe off the bottom of the radiator, drain the coolant out, and hopefully not make too much mess at the same time. Right, so the problem that I've got is, even though the clip's off the back, because there's so little stability on the actual radiators in there, trying to pull that connector off is an absolute nightmare. So I'm going to improvise. This is going in the bin anyway, so let's drill a hole in the bottom of the old rad get that liquid out of there, and then it won't be so difficult to work with if I have to manhandle it out. So. Right, so I think that's got all the radiator fluid out. There's probably still some actually sat in there, but as that's a really low point on the radiator, I think we've pretty much captured it all. I don't think the aircon system's got any gas in it anyway, because I tried it earlier and there was no cold air coming through. So just to test it, I've taken the pipe off and there's like literally nothing coming out of it. So no need to get that professionally emptied. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take off the front condenser, get that off, and then we'll look what's behind it with regards to the radiator, and then get these bungs out and these little bolts off here and get all the new stuff fitted and assembled. So I think the only thing we need to recover off this condenser is that little plastic bracket that sits on the corner, because there's not one on our new one, so we don't want to lose that. So next step is to get these two little brackets out of the way, and then in theory the radiator will just drop down and come out, and then we can try and get this connector off the back here, which is an absolute arse to get off.
Here we go.
Oh, I hate working on radiators because it's always messy. So, only thing remaining now is the Jubilee clip at the top here, and then they've got a connector on the back for the radiator. So I'm going to unclip that, disconnect the radiator cable, and then the whole thing should be out. One radiator out. So I'm going to have a quick tidy up, and then we will get the fan switched over to our new radiator and everything put back in place, which will hopefully be a lot easier than taking it out, because that's never been out before and the car was made in 2009. Okay, so here's our nice new shiny 100% intact radiator, and here's the original. So what I'm going to do now, all I've got to do, undo these two bolts, then the radiator will slide into those two housing places, do the bolts back up, and then that's that bit built back up. We don't need to put the condenser onto the front of this until it's back on the car. So let's get these two bits transferred over, and that'll be done now. There we go, all transferred over. That can now go in the bin. So all we've got to do now is get this reassembled onto the car. I need to check I've got a Jubilee clip to put onto that. I think I have. If not, then we can just leave that off, refill it. It will stay tight enough until I get one in the morning and we'll go from there. Right, let's get this back on the car. Now for our new condenser. I was actually quite surprised because looking at used ones online, they actually worked out only about £10 cheaper each to buy used over buying brand new ones. So I think the Radiator was about £56 and the condenser was around about £50. So knowing that they're all brand new is a huge benefit. So all I need to do tomorrow is replace the Jubilee clip on the top of the rad before I can fill it. When you get your replacement radiator, whatever you do, don't throw away the old cap because you'll need to refit that to the new one. So now we're in a position where we can refit or fit our new upper impact bar. So I'm going to fit it onto these two little 10mm nuts here first, just because that'll help me get it aligned. What's next? I spoke to the guy who's looking to buy this, and he basically said that ultimately he'd be happy to leave it as is. After taking it off, I'm not 100% convinced, but what I'll do is I'll order one of these now. You know the process, I'm showing you how it's been done, how we swap that out. Let's get the front bumper on, and then that's the whole front end rebuilt and complete. Okay, so on to the front bumpers. This was obviously the original. It's all cracked and damaged, but the fog lights are absolutely fine. And this is the bumper I picked up yesterday, which I showed you earlier is in really good condition apart from some scuffs underneath, but it doesn't have fog lights. It has these plastic inserts which look exactly the same as the vents in the car. So let's do a quick swap over, get those fog lights onto this bumper. bits on the car. Front end reassembled. Let's try out the fog lights and make sure that they work. There we go. All working. Probably all we can do today. It's really hot in here, but I have to have the door shut unfortunately because there's a gym outside. Always playing quite loud music, and if that gets picked up on the video it's an absolute pain to edit out. So let's just recap last jobs to do before we can get this over to MOT. I need to tighten the top of the bumper up, so I need to get some more of these screws. I need to get some self tappers to go into the wheel arch liner to screw that into place, and we need to get the Jubilee clip so we can fill up the coolant. And at that point, without the exception of any unseen issues, this car's done, and it's been done in less than a week. So I'll catch you tomorrow. We'll get those last bits on there, refill the coolant, and hopefully bring us up to the penultimate episode before MOT on the Ford KA. So just done the last couple of jobs after replacing the radiator and the condenser yesterday. So radiator has now been filled, got a Jubilee clip on that pipe. So all I had to do, fill up the coolant reservoir, and then there's a bleed screw just here. You take that out. Hopefully you can hear me with the engine running. You take that out and then literally let it run, get it to temperature, the air all bleeds out, and let it settle, and then hit it again. And now I've just done the aircon regas, so you attach to the valve on here, let the engine run for a minute or two. It does say alert, but you see there now, we're back in the green. You can hear the aircon pump running and circulating the coolant through. All you literally have to do, I'll turn it down just a minute. So all you literally have to do to regas it, attach the canister with the special valve, start the engine, put the car onto internal recirculation, set the aircon on, coldest setting possible, and then whack it up to full. Originally it was blowing quite warm air, obviously, because there was very little coolant left in the system, or the actual gas left in the system. And then literally I let that run for about 2 minutes. The gauge then works out where it needs to be, and then all you do is just keep gassing it, give it a couple of seconds of gas, leave it 30 seconds, let it settle, and then gas it again. And now we're in the green. You can see there on the valve it's in the green. So yeah, that's blowing nice cold air. So that's the aircon regas. There's no alert or anything on there saying that it's basically not pulling through. And if you can hear, that's nice ice cold now. Only other thing I found when I tested the lights, what it's calling the DRL light, this one here wasn't working. So undid that bolt, undid this bolt, pull the unit out, get access to the little cover on the back, and then pull that out, and it's all pretty much done. So tomorrow I'm going to get the replacement pipe for the air filter, and then as soon as that's done it's going to go straight to MOT. So I'll catch you back when we're doing that air pipe. So it's been a couple of days since I did the last video when we changed the pipe out on the engine, so that's all rebuilt now. The car's complete. I've just got the paperwork come through and we have a pass on the MOT, which is really good. So there was a couple of minors on there, just a brakes binding, but we think that's because the discs were quite rusty. It's probably sat for a good month or so not being used. So today is delivery day, so I'm about to finish off tidying up the KA and then I'm going to take it down to its new owner. Catch you back in a second. So that's it, KA is finished and ready to go to its new owner. This has been a really enjoyable build, nice and quick. So let's just remember what happened. So impact on the front, bumper was damaged, we replaced both the rad, the condenser, changed out that pipe that was broken, changed out the starter motor, fitted a new bumper, transferred the fog lights across, and yeah, it's all done. Oh, this little dent here we took to the paintless dent guy and he basically said he couldn't get it out, so 100%, but he's improved it, but he hasn't charged us for that. He just said, you know, I'll give it a go, if I can't do it I can't do it, which is really good of him. So yeah, this is ready to be used again. So I'm going to go on a quick trip now just up to near Bourne. So it's about 20-25 minute journey from here. Get this delivered to its new owner. So I just wanted to add a little bit before the end of the video, the fact that I said that I was hoping to get this video up for the Friday. It's now about 2 weeks later. The reason for that is I went away on holiday with my family and the internet speed where we were staying was pretty much non-existent. I think when I did a check, this size video would have taken about 18 to 20 hours to upload. And we had limited access to Wi-Fi and data on our phones, so apologies it's taken so long. But interestingly, while I've been away, the new owner of the car has been doing a bit of research. So I did what's called a car vertical check. So you go onto a website, you pay a fee and you put the information of your vehicle in and it churns out tons of useful information. One of the bits of information that was quite key from that check was the fact we were able to actually track down the fact the car had originally had a private plate on it, because when we rang round to the Ford dealerships trying to get the service information, any kind of like details on what history it had, the dealer was like, oh, I don't even know what that car is, we've never sold it, we've never worked on it. And we were like, well, it's got one of your number plates on it with your address and your details, so you must have had the car at some point. Anyway, so going back through the car vertical check, we managed to trace that about, I think a year or so ago, it changed from private registration to the registration that's on the car. So we then did a bit more searching with, also the new owner did a bit more searching with the private reg and managed to find a raft of paperwork from the previous owner. I'll tag a quick picture now to show you that. So yeah, it just shows you doing a check for I think less than 10 quid has meant that we've taken a car with no service history who's now got a lot of documentation with it. So let's get back to the end of the video. Just thought I'd add that little bit in there. I'll tag a link to Car Vertical in my description, and just to be clear, I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. I'll just give you their information. It's something I use on a regular basis. So that brings us to the end of the episode and the end of the series on the KA. I hope everyone's enjoyed what they've seen. If you like what you see, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe, and if you are already subscribed, then thank you very much for supporting the channel. We're going to take the money from this KA and we're going to plumb it into another build so I can give you more content and we can keep on going with rebuilding cars. See you later.